The WillCo Sports Power Hour features Williamson County High School athletics. The show is hosted by Charles Pulliam of the Williamson Herald and Garth Bolden of Gateway Tire and Service in Franklin. The live broadcast every week is brought to you by Tim Thompson Premier Realtors and aired on location at Tony's Eat and Drink in Franklin.
Good evening, everybody. This is Garth Bolden, joined with my co-host Charles Pulliam of the Wheel. This is the WillCo Sports Power Hour. Tonight brought to you by Tim Thompson Premier Realty, coming to you live from Tony's Eat and Drink right here in Cool Springs. And we got a pretty decent show tonight with you, a little bit smaller scale, but that's okay. We've got some teams that are playing tonight and unable to be with us. But all in all, we'll have a great show. And before we get to that, we got more than one. we got the current athletic director for Williamson County, and then we've got the former athletic director of Williamson County that's going to be in the house with us. So, Charles, I don't know what we're going to do tonight.
I think it's going to be pretty entertaining. But like you said, we have a couple guests normally here. Our recent Gateway Tire Female Athlete of the Week, Kyra Knox, is playing tonight. So she'll join us next week. We'll have a pretty crowded show, actually. But we do have our Gateway Tire Male Athlete of the Week we'll talk to a little later in the hour here. We'll do a nice little lead-up right to Monday Night Football here, talk a lot of football here early. And we have a really special guest here from Outside the Lines, the student-run media group for WCS. So it'll be pretty fun, especially with the chat with Coach Darrin Joins as well.
Yeah, I'm actually excited to learn a little bit more about the Outside the Lines. I know that that's a program that was started here a few years ago in Williamson County. And, you know, we recognize athletes each week, but it's great to be able to talk to the young people that actually promote those student athletes amongst their high schools. So we have Erin Powers here tonight, our Stonegate Heart of the team. You know, she may not play the sport, but she's certainly involved in the sport. So she deserves this award just as much as anybody. And we're thankful for Coach Joins for recommending her, and we're glad to do that. But before we get into that, before we have Coach up here, let's do a little wrap-up of last week. We had some football games that were, you know, interesting. I actually won all the picks that I picked.
I noticed.
You know, I hit a home run this week.
In the Williamson Herald, we do a Pigskin Pick'ems here, which kind of covers a couple featured college games and a couple pro games as well, too. But we pick all the local high school ones as well, and you had a pretty solid week, I must say.
Yeah, I had a good solid week, but the dadgum Titans let me down, so I'm disappointed in that. The Kentucky Wildcats let all of us down. No one saw that coming. But let's talk about the high school games. Let's start with Ravenwood Blackman.
Again, this is our...
Yeah, go ahead. You need to list our sponsors.
Yeah,
I'm jumping into it. I'm sorry.
Again, a quick shout-out to all our great sponsors. So every Monday night, we're here from about 6 to 7 at Tony's Eat and Drink, live, hanging out here. It's a great spot, great food, great everything here. The Tim Thompson Premier Realtors WillCo Sports Power Hour, brought to you by Gateway Tire and Service, Toyota of Cool Springs, Stonegate Homes, Matthews Team Sports, Trucking for a Cure, Tennessee, Southern Trophy, and John Mayer Builders. Our Week 3 scoreboard, of course, brought to you by Toyota of Cool Springs. We'll do that quick rundown. Like you said, I think we should actually start with one of our featured games on the WAKM network here. Page over Franklin, 14-0 winners there. We'll kind of run through all these scores here, but a third straight shutout for Page. Garth, little history stat here. As our boys here would say in WCS, a gem of sorts. These boys have started with 3 straight shutouts for the first time in school history.
That's school history?
Yeah, going all the way back to the 70s on that one. Had to double check.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I think we need to ask Coach Joins this when he gets up here as well. You know, I know he pulls for Franklin, but now he's the athletic director, so he has to be unbiased and all of that. But I think Page is better this year than they were last year.
That defense is one of a kind right there. Best I've seen in a long time. Like I said, a third straight shutout. They've given up less than 300 yards in 3 games.
They're legit. They're focused, and they're experienced. We know they're well coached, adding Scott Wells to them this year. But, you know, there again, They only put 14 points up against Franklin, and I know Franklin is on they're trending upward. I get that, but still, I expected more points out of Page against Franklin. I didn't think they would.
Still tinkering with that offense here. Again, I'll run down the scores here real quick, though, too. Again, Centennial 20 over Independence, 2013 on that one. BGA picks up a 35-28 win over NCS. We'll be chatting with Kaedyn Marable, the quarterback, a little later in the show. Green Hill 20-0 over Summit. Brentwood Academy picked up a 23-13 win over Christian Brothers. The Ravenwood boys, as you said, 14-7 winners over Blackman. They are 3-0. Brentwood picks up a big 56-14 win over Hendersonville. Fairview shuts out Stewart County 35-0. CPA a big 42-9 win over Pope Prep. And Middle Tennessee Christian School 2013 winners over Grace Christian Academy down by Leapers Fork to kind of round things out there. You mentioned that Ravenwood game. 14-7, the two-quarterback system, some kind of special there. Neat to see both those guys running the show. But, hey, that was a tough game for those guys to come out on top.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Brentwood had beat Blackman earlier in the season. And, I'm not going to say handedly beat Blackman, but then for Ravenwood to come back the next week and only put up 14 points against Blackman, there again, that two-quarterback system, I have mixed emotions about that. I don't know that Coach Hester will be able to keep that up all season. I think at some point he's going to hit a wall, and one of those quarterbacks will, just take over, and you'll pretty much have to go with a hot hand. And the experience is definitely, Maverick Chance has running the ball really, really well. We know that what's Femi?
Femi,
I lost it there for a minute. Femi has got quite a few college looking at him. He's got all the intangibles to make a great college quarterback, tall, fast. We talked about this last week, though. He doesn't come out of the pocket and use his legs, but I know he can run because, good grief. I compare him to a lot like Michael Vick. He's just got that look about him to where he can run and the way he carries that football when he is running. But anyway, Ravenwood didn't play great, but they still got the W, just like Page. Maybe they didn't play that great, but they still got the W. But hats off to Page. Franklin. They held in there. They only gave up 14 points.
It was a nice finish there when you think about the opportunities left on the table for the Admirals. I talked to Coach Adkins for a while about that one. Definitely some stuff left on the table there. They could have challenged a little more there, wanted to score a couple times. But, again, that Page defense, hey, if you're playing a team that's considered that one to beat in December, it's always great, especially when you're playing in August and early September like this. So,
what'd you think about the Brentwood Academy? Well, I know did you pick Brentwood Academy or did you pick Christian Brothers?
I thought Christian Brothers might be able to get him because he was on the road.
Yeah,
yep.
I looked at that, but I think Brentwood Academy is, under this new coaching staff, seems to be playing better. I know McIntyre is getting all the accolades, but, there again, Brentwood Academy's defense is playing a little bit better this year. So, I went with Brentwood Academy, and, of course, the CPA score didn't surprise me any. I went with Middle Tennessee Christian over Grace Christian. I know that Grace Christian's struggling a little bit right now.
I think we'll chat a little more D2 actually later in the show when we have BGA's.
That's
Marable
right. I
here.
forgot we've got Kaedyn with us. Right.
We should bring on a coach right now too. Coach Darrin joins.
Yeah,
of
let's
course,
get him on
and that
up
way
here.
we could really talk a little more football.
He's patiently waiting. But where did his sidekick go? Did he already leave us?
On the phone, always busy. Everybody, this is Williamson County Schools Athletic Director Coach Darrin joins. Happy to have him on board. Coach, welcome back to the show, man. We were talking some football here. Week 3 settings there. We got Page unbeaten, top-ranked 5A team. Ravenwood unbeaten. Little tougher coming over the Blackman game there, but still they're right near the top in Class 6A. Hey, football's off to a good start here, I think.
It really is, and you guys talked about Page earlier. I think the best two teams are Ravenwood and Page.
I agree.
I would love to see those two play. I mean,
they're not on the schedule against each other, though, are
you
they?
Schedule 2 years out. Sometimes you're probably not quite thinking that far ahead. But, you know, the thing I worry about with Page, and this is a nice thing to have to worry about, some of their games on their schedule, they're gimmies. Laverne's not beating Page, and they're not going to score unless Page wants them to. And then you've got Coffee County, Glencliff, who's in the league. Mm-hmm. That's going to be another game. So one of the things I do worry about Page a little bit is being so much better than their opponents. Sometimes you get worse playing those teams. Mm-hmm. Some of it you can't help. They're so dominant. But I would love to see them match up with Ravenwood.
Yep. And you mentioned actually about those coming games here. I did a little research there and looked all the way back. Way back in 1977 was when Page actually had a winning record, and they shut out 6 teams that year. They've never come close since. Now they've started with 3 straight shutouts. You mentioned an Laverne team coming.
They might be able to do it this year.
There's real potential to more history coming there. Already doing it by doing it 3 straight weeks to start here. But I could a Laverne, a Coffee County. Those are some tall tasks if you're those guys coming to face Page.
Isn't that funny that what we're talking about with Page is, man, I hope they can shut someone out. We're just assuming the victories are there, but. They definitely seem like a team that's
well, you look at it on paper, and they should be able to handily do it. You're exactly right.
Well, you know, one of the things I talked to Coach Rathbone about, which I think is a little bit tricky, your defense is so good. You were talking about them, you know, maybe not scoring like you think they could. In a lot of ways, though, it may make more sense for them to just play fairly conservative offensively, because the last 3 weeks – a safety would have won all 3 games. So you wonder, you know, maybe you don't take quite as many chances on offense because, quite frankly, you don't need to.
And they're learning stuff here. You got the 2-quarterback system there. William Weinbush actually leading the way there, doing a great job. We love Weinbush doing his thing, but at the same time, he's going to Memphis as a safety, and he's almost better on the defensive side. Mitchell Grangene's really come in and looks like he's doing a great job. That backfield's coming in. You got Isaac Odie, a young freshman. Colt Brown made some noise against Franklin. I think the pieces are there, but they're just getting, a couple more games of let's keep tinkering and figuring it out, because you know you can lean on that defense. This Page team, that's a scary contender.
Well, and I think you're going to see Grangene even more and more at the tailback position. Obviously, he can play some QB too. But I think you'll see him a lot more back there. And then you've got a guy like Knight Wilson. He's a good option at receiver. Had a couple interceptions this past week. I really like that Page team. I mean, they are really good.
You know, Coach, it's interesting that you said that, because I had an opportunity to talk to Weinbush's dad earlier this week, or last week, excuse me. He was in the store, and we were discussing, we were talking about, and the young man, the other quarterback, seemingly putting him at they really like that kid at tailback, and Weinbush running the offense may make more sense. You know, that's what I was hearing just last week. So it's funny that you say that. Of course, you may have talked to Coach Rathbone and got that straight from the horse's mouth.
We talk some. We do talk some.
Just
yes.
a little bit, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, Coach, one of the things I know you guys do through Williamson County TV, if you didn't mind, weekly shows out here that between you and Tate Matthews, of course, of Matthews Team Sports, one of our great sponsors here. Give us a little rundown of a normal week here, because we could find you talking a lot of sports actually here as well throughout the week.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys doing this. This is cool. Always a good way for us to highlight the young people in the district. I'm really happy that you're going to give OTL a shout-out tonight with Erin Powers being here, and she's got a couple of her OTL teammates with her tonight, so I'm looking forward to you talking to her. Very well deserved that you're recognizing that group. But Tate Matthews and I, we do a Sports Connection show each week. I usually put that link out there on at WCSCO Athletics on X, and then I do a coaches show each week with the WCTV folks. You can also find those links on YouTube, WCTV, which is our local, I would call it the cable access channel. I know it's a little bit different. It's our public television station, but those guys do a great job letting us do that each week. So the Monday show, kind of like you guys are doing, we talk really all athletics. And then the Wednesday show, whatever the game of the week is, we'll bring those coaches in. This week it's Independence Franklin, which I think, you're in week 4. The winner of that game, they've only got one win between them. But they're
That's for fourth place, isn't it?
0-0 in the region, though. Neither one of them have played a game. If you win that game, you're probably going to be a playoff team.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that's for fourth place. That was not good to say, but
you
in
have
reality,
to
they're
make the
probably
postseason.
fourth place.
But here's the thing. If you look at it, Ravenwood, they've separated themselves. Really, I thought Brentwood, after week one, they may be more grouped in with Summit and Franklin and Independence, but they've kind of distanced themselves too. I think
they're number 2
It's
now.
Brentwood too, but then you're talking about Summit. They've got some injuries. Summit, Franklin, and Independence come up in a hat and then see what comes out. But if you win this game on Friday night, Franklin or Independence, you've got a real shot to make the playoffs. And as you guys know, just get in when you're a WCS team. And that other region we match up with, there have been some times that you look at it and go, hey, we're going to sweep those first-round games. So you just got to get in. Mm-hmm. And I would argue this. You might be better off fourth than third. Because if you're third, you're going to end up with Ravenwood.
Yep.
You're going to have to play there, too.
True point.
But I would rather play there one, honestly, than be lumped in with Ravenwood. So 4 may be a better spot than 3.
Again, this game coming up Friday night at Independence. You're going to have the Franklin boys there. This is it's just kind of that first circled game. And, you know, talking to Coach Adkins, talking to the guys actually after the loss to Page, it's like, well, truly, this is where it counts now. We got to go 1-0, and that's all that matters. We've learned a little bit. We've felt a little bit. We've, experimented with some things. But I think this is a team coming in that has that little bit of an edge. We knew Coach Stidham and Independence were going to be, they're always super scrappy there, but they had to replace a ton of guys. I love me some Blaze Katina, but at the same time, that offense has got a little more questions to be resolved than the Franklin side for sure.
They do. I like the young sophomore. He's going to be a really good player. He had to jump right in week 1, playing Oakland. Week 2, playing Page. That's tough. Donnie Webb, anytime you go against his defense, that's going to be tough too. And, you didn't mention this before with Franklin. Brewer Wilson doesn't play. If he plays last week, who knows? Maybe it's a little bit different. They had Thompson and then King in there as backup, so to speak. So that was tough not playing with him. So being on the road at Independence, that'll make a difference too.
Yeah,
playing on the road.
A difference.
So I think it's going to be a great game. That's a fourth quarter game.
Gotcha.
I want to ask a question. And I know that sometimes I ask the questions and y'all look at me like, why did you ask that? But what in the world's going on at Summit? I know I keep hearing all these injuries that they're having, but do they not have the depth to fill in, to be able to be I picked Green Hill. I've just but they're just not playing good football. Is it injuries?
It's injuries. It is. They had a ton of injuries there in week 1. If they avoid those, and it's just part of the game. It's next man up, everybody says, with football.
That's why I asked about the depth.
Yeah, the depth's not quite there for them, and it's some of the guys that are out. But I would just say this. If they got Blackman this week. Doesn't really matter. You want to win every game you play, but it's another week to get healthy before they jump into region play. So if they can get healthy, I don't think there's a ton of difference between Summit, Independence, and Franklin.
Yeah, agreed. I would
if they get healthy, I'll agree with that.
Well,
I'll agree with that.
We had Mason, the quarterback, on the show last week, and he talked a lot about that potential. And this is a guy who's been taking snaps for a couple years.
But the whole time I wanted to ask him, where's your depth? Summit's a big school.
Well, and I'll tell you this that I think goes in their favor. They don't play Independence until the last game of the week or of the year. So that's kind of lined up to be pretty good for them. On the 20th, they open up with Brentwood. Again, most of us think they're second. So even if they drop that matchup, it's not one that, really is, because they've got Franklin and Indy both a little bit later. So schedule-wise, I think it's better for them.
I like
to get healthy, that's certainly true. You're exactly right.
Coach, one of the things, getting to chat a lot of football here, I actually was just sharing about how Jake Eichhoff on X, as you guys say, out there on the Twitterverse there. Jake Eichhoff, congratulations to this young sophomore from Page High School, a golfer. He had a hole-in-one on a 208-yard ninth hole over at the Vanderbilt Legends
Wow.
How about that?
I wonder what he hit. Did
Yeah,
it say what he
how about
hit?
that? Well, that was so overall, thinking of his match play over there, this Page team, golf-wise, cross-country, I know we had the Voiles Classic this weekend. Both Brentwood teams come out on top. Across the area, I mean, with volleyball, with soccer going, we have a lot of success in this county, Coach. And just chat a little bit about what makes this so special to always see so much success.
You can go ahead and, puff your chest out a
we
little
do,
bit.
and I tell you, we always talk about trying to get 7 or 8 state titles. No, Dr. Qualls, who was my predecessor in this job, I appreciate him being here tonight for Erin and OTL, so he's in the house. We had a couple of state football championships when Indy and Ravenwood both win. Was that, 16-ish maybe?
Yeah, 15, 16-ish, yeah.
So I feel like we've got a shot for 2. I mean, I really do think Ravenwood and Page both have a great shot to win it. Now, listen, Centennial, the way they've played the past couple of weeks, don't sleep on them. Nolensville's playing well, too. But I think most of us would agree that Ravenwood and Page have the best shot. Then you look at golf. Brentwood boys, Page boys, both with a real chance to win the whole thing. The Page girls, I'm thinking they might be the favorite to win it. Mm-hmm. And then you talk about cross country. I know you noticed this, Charles. So in cross country, you count the first 5 scores, how you finish. So low score is best. So the Brentwood boys and girls not only won that thing, they both had 36, which means if you add up their 5 finishers, it added up to 36. On the girls' side was 17th.
Yep.
On the boys' side was 12. The second-place teams had 110 and 116 points. That is a complete domination. Mm-hmm. I think you're looking
Without
at both of those teams winning, too.
Without a question.
Those
so what
Brentwood
does that
girls,
put state championships at? What would that put?
Well, I mean, I'm telling you, here in the fall.
Realistically.
Volleyball, you're talking about Brentwood and Owensville. I think both of those can make it to the end. We will be in with the shot, I'm going to tell you, in every one of those sports.
Yep.
And in soccer, too. Look at Franklin, how they're playing. Mm-hmm. Don't count Ravenwood
out. And where
out.
they were last year, too.
That's right.
Yep. Coach Burgoyne has a lot of those girls back. Made it to the state semis last year. Had to face the #1 team in the nation back-to-back years in Bearden. And challenged them. And, of course, Ravenwood snuck in on the other side, made it all the way to the championship. It's fun in this county. We're always competing for state titles.
Hey, and let's don't forget Fairview. I know I try to get a couple knocks in on Coach Hughes when I can, but let's don't forget Fairview. Soccer playing really well.
Yep.
Only have 1 loss so far. Volleyball playing really well, undefeated in their league.
And football-wise, they're off to a 2-1 start there now, too.
1-0 in the league.
It's the important one.
I've picked Coach Hughes 3 times, and he let me down the first week.
You
wait until I see him.
But East Hickman, as it turns out.
He says he gets no love from us, and I've picked him 3 times, all 3 times, and I'll probably pick him a 4th time.
As it turns out, East Hickman is 3-0.
Yeah.
So they've got a pretty good squad. They do.
And that was losing your quarterback in the 4th quarter there, too.
Which was tough.
So
emotionally.
That's a tough thing to overcome.
And out on the field. Got a sophomore playing well, too, right now.
Well, Coach, before we talk outside the line specifically here, let's go back into football. Think about this Week 4 matchup here. Obviously, one of our big circled game is that Franklin-Indy one there. But what else kind of jumps out to you in terms of the matchups there? What are you kind of excited to see?
Centennial and Lawson, first region game for them. I think Centennial goes out and dominates that game. But I always like it. And speaking of puffing out his chest, Coach Stewart's proud to be in WCS. He really is, and I think he loves matching up with his buddies there in Metro Nashville. Lawson comes to town, or as I like to call them, the school formerly known as Hillwood, that they're going to be here.
Is that what?
That's right.
Well, I wondered where in the world today our picks. I'm like, what's Lawson? What is that?
Just think Hillwood.
Yep.
Just think. Another interesting thing. We love Coach Kreisky out at Blackman. Like to give him a hard time too. We hated to see him leave the county, but still like keeping up with him. They've got a matchup with Summit. And remember now, Coach Kreisky at Forest replaced Coach Coleman.
The ties
at
so
Forest.
Much fun.
And obviously they matched up in 6A. So it's kind of fun with a non-region game seeing those 2 teams match up as well. And I look for Ravenwood. They've got Smyrna for the 3rd time since Week 4 last year. They played in the regular season. They also played in the second round. As you guys mentioned, kind of a sloppy game for them. Ravenwood winning 14-7.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, they had 4 touchdowns called back.
Correct.
During that game.
Talk about frustration, yeah.
They're going to clean that up. I look for them to go to Smyrna, host Smyrna, and really dominate that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how Nolensville's playing, too.
Agreed. And that's Nolensville coming off another big shutout over McGavick this last week. Like seeing what they're doing. New quarterback coming in. Couple guys really making a lot of noise there. Carson Kelly's my guy off in Nolensville. I like a ton.
Doing some things offensively and defensively as well. And you talk about Coach Derrick. We talk about the great defenses in the district, but the great defensive coaches. Coach Derrick's a really good defensive coach. I think they gave up like 160 yards last week. A lot of people felt like that would be a really tight game with McGavick. They open up region play this week against Glencliff. They'll roll. They'll roll in that game.
They will absolutely.
They'll roll.
They can bring the tractors and go run up and down the field on that one. I mean, that's going to be a boat race. Good Lord.
No doubt.
Again, this is the WillCo Sports Power Hour live here at Tony's Eat and Drink every Monday. This is our home here. A big shout out to Tim Thompson, Premier Realtors, our premier sponsor here, and Coach Darrin Joins of Williamson County Schools here. Coach, we get to talk and learn a little more about Outside the Lines, the program here. Student-run media group here. I mean, this is some kind of special. I'm out and about a ton, as you know, within Williamson County, working for the Williamson Herald as a sports editor. I'm at all these different events, and I have trouble keeping up with some of the kids here that represent for Williamson County Schools within Outside the Lines. Can you just kind of explain this program a little bit and just what it does and how it empowers, and you got students working with students. I mean, this is just one of a kind.
It is, and I appreciate you guys recognizing them, and you do it all the time. You talk about them, mention them and what they're doing, and this really came about, at least the thought of it, when Dr. Qualls was in my position as AD, and I taught marketing at Franklin. He said, let's get some kind of program together outside the lines, outside the playing lines, so to speak, where we have students work on getting their skills ready in different areas. Is it photography? Is it video? Is it sports writing? I mean, what's it going to be? So we did that a little bit. Him as AD, I was the marketing teacher. We did that with my marketing class. Once I became the AD and he became the head of CTE, our career classes, so to speak, then we were in a little bit different position. So after talking with Dr. Qualls about that, we have a work-based learning. That's the old co-op, if you remember that, where you're basically working and getting class credit.
I heavily support the co-op programs. I love it.
They're great. So they are doing an internship with the district athletic programs. This is year 4. We've had students go on and do great things at the college level. You look at our first class, we've got someone who's working at Samford. We got someone else at Southern California who's also in film school. We've got someone at Florida State working in the athletic program. And this year, that's a pretty high bar, that first year. This may be our best group in terms of numbers. We've got 6 across the district. We represent 5 different schools. And in terms of talent, if you don't mind, I want to mention who they are.
Oh, please.
We got 3 of them here tonight. We've got Kyla Davis, who's from Page High School. We've got Katie Lowe, who's from Nowensville. Of course, Erin, who you're going to recognize here in a second. We've also got David Riley, who's Summit High School, Luke Campbell, Ravenwood High School, and A.B. Basta, also Nowensville. So that's 6 students, 5 different schools, and they are talented. Here's what I love about them. And we tell them this. Dr. Qualls and I both tell them. We're not necessarily trying to create things for you to do. Now, we're going to do game day. We want you there being part of game day. We're going to have the WillCo Awards. We want you there to be a part of the WillCo Awards. We're going to have football and basketball and different media days. We want you to be a part of that. But what we really want you to do is take and be excited about something that you want to do. Erin, who you're going to invite up here tonight, she's our first 2-year OTL student, and you've probably seen her on the sidelines taking pictures, and what she produces is really pretty incredible for someone her age. It really is. And just, I'll say this, the professionalism of these young people. They can get up, they can speak in front of people, they can be a part of what's going on the field, and they're not in the way. They're very much a part of what you guys do there on the sidelines. So I do appreciate you recognizing them. It's a great program.
Well, one of the things that just hearing you speak about the program and so forth reminds me of when I was in college, I worked for sports information for the University of Tennessee. What they are doing prepares them directly for that type of field. The sports information is exactly, handling the media, writing the articles and all that. And these young people, it's a direct thing to be able to go into these school programs and say, hey, this is what I've done because, of their experience and so forth. But one of the questions that I have in relation to that, so let's say, Erin, let's take Erin example since we're recognizing her tonight. It's part of a co-op program. Is she able to leave during the day and go maybe intern at Williamson Herald? Can she leave early from school like the other programs, or do they have to stay throughout the day?
No, they do. The last period of the day, that's when they have it. We have meetings, and they meet once a week. But beyond meeting, they go out and start working on what they need to work on. It may be some kind of package they're putting together for social media. And I'm sure Erin, when she gets up here, she's going to tell you all the socials to follow. They've got a great Instagram account, student-led, lots of great content on there. And here's what I like about it. It's not only modern, it's relevant, it's professional. It is very, it's fun, but it's still very professional, and I really appreciate that. We're not having to look over their shoulder too much saying, do that, avoid this. They do a great job of it. And, just to show you what it can mean to someone, Rhea Whitlock, daughter of Coach Patrick Whitlock. She was part of the program last year, and she's making it part of what she's doing at the college level too there. So we're certainly proud of her. We've had someone every year that tries to take this thing to the next level, and even if they don't, just being a part of what they're a part of is going to help them in any career that they enter. And Dr. Qualls would say this too. The CTE courses, those were the courses I taught. I taught marketing for years. I would say, shouldn't all education be career education? I'm assuming most people are going to want to work. So it's not just those classes, but it's something we certainly focus on through this program.
Coach, how to our viewers, how do these young people get involved? How do they have an opportunity to get involved in the program?
It's an application process, and every year the competition's gotten stiffer. It really has. There's more people applying. They turn in a video application. We've even had Erin was part of the process this year. I can assure you that most of this group, Erin made contact with. She had kind of earmarked, this person's going to be good, this person's going to be good, and we're going to be counting on them next year to tell us some others that are coming up. But it's an application process.
So it's not just seniors, since this is her second year.
That's right. It's primarily been seniors, but she's one that she's done it the last 2 years.
Well, I think you can kind of learn as we go. But again, this is really new here. This is just a few years old here when you think about it. But the idea of coming back another year is actually helpful across the board, and you learn a little more too, I think. So it's nice to have a couple of these kids maybe doing it back-to-back years.
No question. And I hope we have more of that in the future. You take someone like a Tia Atkinson. I know you love Tia. She was always at games, and you talked to her. I saw her confidence really increase. Dr. Qualls and I were talking about when we interviewed her. She was kind of shy. We interviewed her via Zoom. Didn't say a lot. But one thing we noticed about her, she had I think it was a car detailing business that she had on her own. We're like, okay, this person's kind of a self-starter.
That's driven. That's driven right there.
And then when she started being a part of this, she didn't have just a great skill set in terms of using a camera. She taught herself.
Yep.
She taught herself
to design and
make
everything.
Design. That's right, graphics. And now, not only do you see her skill set increase, what I like to see, she just blossomed. And that's really what teaching should be all about. Trying to take, someone told me this once, and I thought this was a great way to describe education. Regardless of what you're teaching, you take people where they're at when you get them, and you try to get them as far down the road as you can. And when I look at someone like Tia, man, she got way down the road in terms of her skill set. It's just so fun to see what she's doing now at Florida State.
Well, before we get Erin up here, I want to give you the opportunity to give us a little preview of what Erin Powers has kind of brought to OTL and just how great it is to work with her. I know she's looking at us. She's really excited about being focused on and the featured guests here. But at the same time, I know you got some Erin stories here, Coach. You got to give us a couple.
Well, you'd asked me to give you a little information about her.
Yeah.
And here's what I said about her, which is true. She is what I call a go-getter. In other words, she just does it on her own. You got to tell Erin, whoa, not go. To give you an example, last year I got a call from the TSSAA, Matthew Gillespie, and he said, hey, who is this Erin Powers person? Whoever this is, she or he has requested sideline passes for the state championship. I said, first of all, that's legit.
Yeah.
I did have to tell Erin, said, Erin, I'll make that contact first. Let me do that first. But she just goes and does it on her own.
Wasn't it for all the state championships, though, too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a 3-day affair there.
Well, and here's what I would say about her as well. No matter what she does, I mean, I don't know what she's going to do next year, talking about going to college. Maybe she's going to keep doing this. Maybe she's going to do both. Whatever team, organization, school, whatever she's a part of, without question, it'll be better because she is a part of it. And here's the thing that I like about all these students that do this kind of thing is she's always looking for a way to get better. She's always looking for a way to get other people involved. She's got a great way of doing that. When we have game days, media days, there are people from all across the district that I've never met. And she's like, well, so-and-so and so-and-so, they're helping tonight. I'm like, okay. She just kind of takes charge of that, which I think is part of her skill set.
She showed up last Monday night, and I was like,
Helped us out. She's helped us out many times.
wow,
Yep.
this is pretty cool.
Well, and listen, we want her to stay in WCS as much as we can, but I had someone reach out to me and said, hey, I was at a CPA football game, and you know who was there? I was like, let me guess, probably Erin. Yes, she was on the sideline taking pictures and doing her thing, so it's really neat to see her do that, and I'm excited for all these young people what's going to be next for them. But we don't want them to graduate too early.
Yeah.
We want to keep them with us for now. But we're proud of her.
Coach Joins, so great to have you come up here and chat a little bit. It's great to be able to talk a little bit about football. Of course, Erin, outside the lines. Coach, we're excited, man. We get to see you, of course, for the Coaches Show, the WCS TV setup here, too. Always looking forward to it, man.
Well, and I appreciate, Charles, you coming out. Dr. Qualls was on assignment. You came out and helped us with game day. You were great as always, so we appreciate you stepping up. Might be another chance to do that on down the line as well, so thank you for that.
I like it. Darrin Joins of Williamson County Schools,
Thank
you so much. Again, this is the WillCo Sports Power Hour. We're live here at Tony's Eat and Drink. Quick shout-out to all our great sponsors out there. Tim Thompson, Premier Realtors, Gateway Tire and Service, Toyota of Cool Springs, Stonegate Homes, Matthews Team Sports, Truck and Fork here, Tennessee, Southern Trophy, and John Mayer Builders. We're live here at Tony's Eat and Drink. We're here every Monday night. You can check out the live feed on the Williamson Herald Facebook page, also on the Gateway Tire Facebook page. We're also on Spotify now. And I tell you what, we get to have a fun visit here. And you know what? You were just here last week, Erin, and I know you're super excited to be focused on now here. But gosh, just tell us a little bit about Coach Joins said some really nice things about you there. How's that make you feel?
Makes me feel awesome. I love Coach Joins and Dr. Qualls. They're awesome and have been super helpful the past couple of years. Even when I was in middle school, I had a relationship with them, and it's been awesome just getting to learn from them and grow with them.
When it comes to your role within Outside the Lines, I know I get to see you almost all the time here because you're taking photos on the sidelines here, but let's dive right into where we kind of got started here. I mean, every time I've seen you, except for this moment now, you've had a camera with you. How did we get into photography, and what was that driving force that kind of just pulled you that way? Because I know you played some softball, right? Still do. I mean, what was it about getting behind a camera?
Cameras have always been like a really big part of my life growing up, and then I moved to Tennessee when I was in 5th grade, and then when I was starting middle school, I wanted to be involved in something. I wasn't playing any middle school athletics or anything, and so I wanted a way to get involved, make friends, meet people, especially just being the new kid. I wanted to branch out. And so I went to a football game. I was 6th grade, and I shot, and I fell in love with it, and it was like my favorite thing to do, and I've done it ever since then.
Okay. 6th grade. Wow. Well, moving on to, through your high school career here, I've seen so much more of a portrait work. You run your own side business here, taking senior photos, things like that. Just kind of describe, I guess, that portfolio, what it might look like, because we've seen everything from the pro side. I know you've been at Titans games to always roaming the sidelines here, no matter the sport. But tell us a little, describe what that portfolio might look like.
There's a ton of portraits. I love getting to take my friend's senior picture. I do a ton of family pictures. Those are super fun to take, especially like when you can build a relationship with the family. Like there's some families who I've taken their family photos like multiple years in a row, and that's so fun. And then I do a lot of stuff, obviously with Williamson County, all the sports, everything. I really enjoy shooting football. That's probably my favorite sport to shoot. And then I also really like baseball. Because it's just easy to shoot. And then
just easy to shoot. You hear that? Okay.
She's everywhere.
Yeah. I guess so.
I don't know what else is on there. A lot of events. I like doing events. I shot for Williamson Herald, actually, the Zach Bryan event over the summer in Leapers Fork. That was super fun. But I'm always just so open to doing anything. Like when I get the randomest requests and people are like, can you come shoot this? And I'd be like, I love to shoot that.
Well, through Outside the Lines here, this group here a little bit. Tell us about this year's group versus last year and just some of the things that we're finding out over these first few weeks.
So last year it was 3 people. We originally started with 5 and then we ended with 3. So me, myself, and then Rhea Whitlock from Centennial and then Luke Helton also from Centennial. And it was really awesome to just get to build a relationship. And I think because it was such a smaller group, we got really close within us. And within the team. And then this year we have 6, which is a lot. So it's definitely been interesting navigating that. We have Kyla Davis from Page. I know Coach Joynes talked about it. And then we have Katie Lowe from Nolensville, AB from Nolensville, and then Luke Campbell from Ravenwood, and David Riley from Summit. And I think it's been really fun just to kind of have that big group, especially now because we're all like the same age. Because before I was a junior and the other 2 were seniors, so it was kind of a divide there. But I think now it's really fun because we have just such that widespread audience now that we have so many schools and just building more awareness towards the program.
Erin, since you guys meet once a week, is that when you all decide which games you're going to attend and who's going to be covering what? Since you have 2 from Nolensville, I mean, I'm sure you want to cover your home school as much as possible, but you've got to split and divide. So you decide that once a week at your meetings?
Yeah, so we talk about that there, and then we also do a lot of texting. There's a lot of group chat. Sometimes we FaceTime, but we talk a lot on those Wednesdays, and we do meet, and we kind of discuss what's going on. And then we've also, this year, with our partnership with Pancake Pantry, we've been able to meet more with them, and so we talk during those meetings as well. Like this morning, me and Kyla were out at Ravenwood for Michael Gibson got Pancake of the Week, and so we got to celebrate him and bring out those pancakes for him, which was super fun. But yeah, we definitely have a really good communication basis. We don't really decide, because this year I'm the manager of the whole entire group, but I don't really tell them, where to go. I'm kind of just do what you want, get out there, take your pictures.
So, obviously, you're partial to Franklin. That's where you go to school. What's your favorite school to cover, football-wise?
Football-wise, definitely Franklin. It's definitely been a long past 3 years covering them, but it's super fun because I know all the kids, and I've grown up with all the kids, and I've shot them since middle school, and so I kind of know. And also just relationships built.
I meant outside of Franklin. What's your other team that you like to cover?
I really like Brentwood, probably. That's the school I'm at the most. I shoot for them all the time. And same thing with them. I've been able to build those relationships since middle school because I've shot a lot of their events, and I have a lot of really good friends that go there. But, yeah, so definitely either Brentwood or Franklin.
Okay, so what are your plans next year, the senior year? What we know you're a go-getter. So where are you gonna carry this talent to?
I'm originally from Southern California, so I definitely want to go somewhere out west. I really like ASU, Arizona State, or USC, University of Southern California. Those are my top 2 schools right now, but I really haven't decided, so I'm kind of in the middle. But yeah.
Are you going to try to stay in the sports field?
For sure. At Arizona State, they have a sports business major, and I think that I'd do that over journalism or business. But, yeah, I definitely want to continue doing photography or just, be involved with sports wherever I go.
The one thing before we get to our next guest here, Erin, I want to chat a little bit about the social media side of things here. I mean, within Outside the Lines, within your setting, everything. I mean, just tell us a little bit about how much social media has really kind of helped grow a following for you, and how much you use that as a tool as well.
We use social media a ton. Obviously now it's super, like, even in just society nowadays, it's super integrated, and I think that a lot of, like, OTL wouldn't really exist without it, I feel like, and I think that it's a really good way to just get the community involved. I don't think the student sections would be as packed if social media wasn't huge, because it's so easy to just post an Instagram story, post an Instagram reel, and be like, get there 5:30, WCS game day, things like that. And I think that social media definitely has a huge impact on OTL and our reach and just building that audience.
When it comes to building some of that, getting more followers, having people more invested, what are some of the things that this group specifically has kind of done over the last couple of years of just like, hey, this is where all the information is coming from, whether you're on this or that? Just kind of describe that process a little bit and what it's like being one of the people running it.
Yeah, it's definitely super fun. I've loved running it. I've learned so much. But one of the things we always are really big about is video content, like reels, whether that's just phone videos. And then we're also always interacting with the student sections. The past 2 years, I've gotten to host student section leader meetings where I bring all of the student section leaders from every school. Sometimes there's 3, sometimes there's 9. And I bring them all to the EAC and kind of talk to them about what we're looking forward to this year, what we have on the agenda, and just how we work as OTL and how we're here to help them. And it's a good relationship to build, and that's definitely a way that I get them involved. I'm like, make sure you all are following OTL, make sure you're pushing out, everything like that. And then also just commenting on posts, interacting with posts, answering DMs, everything like that, staying active.
This, I guess, you know, the day-to-day of it here, how do you find time to be everywhere, to be a great student on top of that, all that kind of stuff? I mean, I mentioned how I'm out and about all the time, and I see you out and about all the time. How do you manage your time?
Time management is definitely something I've had to work really hard on the past few years. Me and my mom talk about it all the time. And finding a balance is really important. So sometimes I'll like bring my friends to games with me to shoot or something, and that's a really good way that I can kind of keep the balance there between social and everything like that. And then schoolwork, I definitely make my study hall time. I really get my assignments done in there a lot. Or I'll like wake up before school and do them then. But it's definitely difficult to balance being a high school student and being involved, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Okay. Well, before we let you go here, some advice to offer to all those underclassmen, or even not, but just the idea of if you have an interest in any kind of media setting, whether it's taking photos or video, working within social media, doing anything sports related for that matter, something similar to Outside the Lines here. What kind of advice do you have for maybe some younger kids that might be interested? I know you've helped recruit a lot of these kids within the program here, but tell me a little bit about, I guess, the advice you would say to maybe a younger you in this setting now.
I think that I know I've said this to you before, but I think my biggest recommendation is to just get out there and shoot, whether you're paid, you're not paid, you know the school you're shooting, you don't know the school you're shooting, you don't have the best equipment, but just getting out there and getting that experience and putting those hours in is really helpful, because you'll learn so much from just putting yourself out there and getting that experience.
Well, Erin, I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the sports information programs at the schools that you go to.
Oh, agreed.
I think you would thoroughly enjoy that. It would even give you an opportunity to work further in the media field, because that's what sports information is based around, is the media field. You do great at it, and you'd be right involved with it. So highly recommend you take a look at that. I think you'll be successful no matter where you go. I've seen her around, and I'm like, who's that blonde girl running around there on the sidelines, or down on the basketball floor taking pictures? Because I mean, she may be a student, but she's right in there with that camera taking pictures just as much as anybody. So you're a go-getter, and I like that. That's neat to see. It's neat to see how you've taken leadership amongst this group, and you have earned this plaque that you saw us giving out last week. You've earned this plaque. So congratulations as our Stonegate Homes Heart of the Team Award.
Congratulations, Erin. Thanks so much for coming as usual, too.
And then Coach Joins wants me to say follow at OTL.TN on Instagram, and the TikTok is at OTL_TN.
I think you were going to say that anyway. You didn't, but you
very
credit
true.
Coach Joins, of course, too, for that front.
They just
right?
reminded me.
Yeah,
so I was
well
like, gotta
said,
say
yeah.
it.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
Congratulations again. Erin Powers, our latest Stonegate Homes Heart of the Team Award winner. We got to make sure she gets a photo with that plaque. Kyla,
Yeah,
if
that's
you don't
right.
mind.
Come back up here real quick, Aaron.
Yeah.
Come here.
No, how about with
Erin.
those three actually there,
Yeah.
yeah?
You three come up here. So let's see if Coach Joins can use that camera there.
Hey, I like it. Again, this is the
Uh-oh.
WillCo Sports Power
Look who-
Hour. We're going to get a quick photo here real quick. Well, I think we'll...
Should have known he wouldn't have been able to
Again,
use that
this
thing.
is we're live here at Tony's Eat and Drink. Always so special to get to come hang out. Congratulations to Erin Powers. We know we got Monday Night Football coming up here, but we got to talk a little high school football just before then as well here with our latest Gateway Tire Athlete of the Week on the male side here. Super excited to talk with the 3-0 BGA boys here. If we can get the quarterback, QB number 1 from BGA up here, Mr. Kaedyn Marable. Come on up here and
Kaedyn.
join us, sir. Again, welcome to the show, Kaedyn. Congratulations again on being our latest Gateway Tire Male Athlete of the Week, man. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
Not bad. Here, tell us real quick who's here with you.
My friend Jake, friend Nate.
Hold
plays
that
football.
mic up. Yep.
Jack's right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's my girlfriend.
Okay. Another big game this last Friday. Take us through week 3, that setting there. This was a big matchup in Division II. Obviously, the D2A side versus D2AA, but Nashville Christian, big recruit, and
Right,
Jared
yeah,
Curtis.
yes,
I mean,
sir.
we're talking, Georgia QB
Yeah.
commit here. Obviously, yourself making a lot of noise here too. But talk a little bit about that matchup, that game, and what it meant to come out with a big 35-28 win.
Yes, sir. I mean, we knew we were coming to the game, playing the number 1 player in our class, him being a QB as well in my class. Had something to prove. So we went out there, prepared the same way as we have been, and got the job done.
When you think of this start that you guys have had, a new coach coming in, a veteran, awesome coach in that matter too, and Bobby Bentley, but at the same time, there's a lot of newness coming into this season. Talk about the approach to this year and what it means to be off to a 3-0 start.
I mean, since Coach Bentley's came in, he's changed the culture a lot. And all the new players I've came in have made practice more competitive, so we've been able to get after it every single day and get better.
One of the things, Garth, we talk a little bit about, we do our Tim Thompson Premier Performers List. We do our Gateway Tire Athlete of the Week. 3 straight weeks, your name's been in that short discussion here, and at the same time, we could have done it for this week, it seemed like, here at the same time, too. 6 touchdowns to start the year, 6 touchdowns in week 2, some big-time performances in week 3 here. Just how has your focus been, and what has it been like to find success personally here in those first 3
Sure.
weeks?
I mean, my focus is just to get out there and do the job, get the ball where it needs to be, get the ball to our playmakers in space, and let them do what they do.
You mentioned playmakers, man. I think you're listed as a playmaker here, man. Tell me, just
You don't
expand
make
on
that
yeah.
top performers list by not being a playmaker, young man. I mean, so you're doing something right.
Yes, sir. I mean, I don't like to focus on myself too much, but I just do what I need to do. If I need to run, I'll run. Wherever the ball needs to go, I'll get it there. Just do me.
Well, Coach Bentley had chatted a little bit about being maybe somewhat underrated in terms of running the ball. This last game, for example, breaking 100 yards rushing and just showing that. I mean, what were you seeing against an NCS defense and able to really open up? Because, again, throwing, fantastic game again, but you ran the ball with ease as well, it looked like, too.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So whenever the pocket collapsed, I just saw open space, and I took it. And I was honestly thinking about sliding on the one run, but I just had to score, had to get in.
Okay. When it gets to describing that game a little bit, too, we've been scoring 69, 68 points, incredible scoring margins here, but this was a little tighter. This was a tougher matchup, a tougher opponent. That kind of setting, how were you guys able to adjust to a tough game like that?
I mean, I don't think we really got stopped. Mostly whenever we got stopped and had a punt, it was because penalties and calls by ourselves, like drop snap on me. So we didn't really get stopped. But then the rain came down. We just had to adjust our game plan a little bit because the rain and the ball was wet. But we were able to still get it done.
Well, I think you kind of mentioned here a little earlier, you don't like really bringing that attention to you, but you're definitely deserving of a lot of that. Let's talk about this team a little bit and some of these guys. You mentioned some playmakers out with you here as well, too. Tell us about this team. What makes this team pretty special?
It has to start with O-line, Nate Fleming, with the line, blocking, protecting me. I barely get touched. I've only been sacked maybe twice on the year, so that helps a lot, being able to be calm and trust the line.
So speaking of the O-line, there's a young man on the O-line that I've known since a young kid, Sawyer's kid. Big boy. Is he good?
Miles?
Yep.
He's a lot better than last year. He's much improved. He's grown a lot. His agility's improved. He's still math.
His grandmother has been a customer of mine for 20+ years. So I've known that kid since he was born. Great family. I've seen pictures of him. He's pretty doggone big.
Yeah. He's improved a lot since last year. He might be the most improved player on our team.
Really?
Last year he didn't play, switched on JV, and this year he gets reps at varsity.
So that's Sawyer's, right?
Yeah.
This approach with the new coach like Bobby coming in. Now, Bobby, I know he's hanging out at the freshman game going on this evening here, but tell us about him in the coaching side, what he's kind of brought to this program and how his leadership has kind of impacted this team.
His game plan each and every week, the offensive side, we have plenty of plays for whatever defense they run, and he prepares us well every day in practice. He's been able to change the culture and our attitude every day, going to practice, wanting to compete and get better.
How would you describe his, his personality? So I've had the opportunity to chat with him on the phone quite a bit. This is a veteran guy. He's coached at many levels. He's won a lot of state titles everywhere too. To have a guy of this caliber leading you and leading this team, just describe what kind of guy he is.
Sometimes, to be honest, he can be kind of a little scary, especially the younger guys. But it's respectable because he knows what he's doing, and if you just listen to him, you'll be good. Sets you up.
You mentioned a little bit about your teammates in that offensive line. I want to go back to those guys. These guys have made life so much easier for you here.
Right.
Describe a couple big plays, couple big moments, because I know you've had some big-time performances out there. What are some moments that kind of stand out where it's like, hey, I could just hang out here in the pocket. I got nothing to worry about.
Right. One of our big receivers, Arnett Hayes, I could basically just throw it and trust him. He's going to go get it no matter where the ball is. And Locke Kennedy, I can throw a 5-yard out route, and he can turn it into a 70-yard play, which he did against NCS at the end of the game. Running back, Ethan Kellum, new from Florida. He's done very well in his role.
Garth got his Kaedyn stat line up here. Before we go any further, we got to bring this up here because through 3 games, Kaedyn is 51 of 67 passing for 882 yards, 10 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. That's just through the air.
Yeah, and that's not against slouch teams either.
No,
that's pretty impressive, young man. I said this to Coach Jones earlier. You can puff that chest out a little bit because those numbers right there, they catch a lot of attention.
Yep.
Because those aren't against slouch teams.
Rushed for 5 scores as well, too. That's 15 touchdowns in 3 games, Kaedyn. This is what a start, right? How do we keep it going, I guess?
We're just going to keep doing the same thing we've done every week, preparing. We got Davidson this week, our first region game. We're not going to change how we prepare, going to practice every day, the scout team giving us a good look.
You mentioned the region style. We had Coach Darrin joins here for WCS Schools. We talked a lot about just how important that is. We got a big matchup here, Franklin at Independence in a big Class 6A matchup there. With that postseason vibe to it, to open region play, to be 3-0, to kind of have that feeling, that base under your belt. How big is this game, and what's it mean to go out and come out on the other side 1-0?
For us, we're feeling great. It's the first time BGA has gone 3-0 since I think 2019. So no one on our team has been able to feel like this, and it feels amazing to go out there with a little swag, I guess you'd call it.
I think that last team you mentioned ended up playing for a state title as well, too, if I'm not mistaken.
NCS? Yeah, last year. Yeah, They made a run.
One of the games that right out of the gate this year that caught my attention was against Knoxville Webb. You guys put a lot of points up against Knoxville Webb. Traditionally, over the years, Knoxville Webb has been one of those teams that pretty much has dominated, and you guys came out and handed it to them. That caught my attention right out of the gate. I thought, wow, we're seeing a difference right over there off of Mac Hatcher, and the culture has obviously changed.
Yes. Yeah.
It is the coach expecting it now, making you guys work harder to believe, so that you can believe in yourselves? Because, you guys are getting it done on the field.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One thing that's changed a lot, lifting. We lift on the whistle, just small things like that. It doesn't allow us to be lazy. We have a thing called perfect play in practice. You have to get multiple plays in a row perfect before you can end practice. Sometimes that takes a while, especially at the beginning, but it's gotten much better over the time. It makes us be perfect.
Yeah, I guess one of the things we mentioned was just how great this start is. What is something that this team and you in particular have to work on here? Because we've checked some boxes here right away, but it's always about getting that 1% better as much as we can. What is something that you think this team has to improve on first?
So for the offensive side, we got to fix the penalties. I think last game we had 12 penalties on offense for 200 yards, something like that. Got to fix that.
That stacks
Stopping
up.
ourselves, yeah.
Okay. How about on your side? What are you trying to do, I guess, to get a little better? Because it's kind of hard to, I guess, maybe not throwing 76% of your passes for completions. Holy cow.
Right. I'm still missing a couple of those out there and a couple of reads I can do better on. And run reads I can do better on, and checks whenever the defense rotates. I can check.
Okay. Kaedyn, we're just pretty excited to have you here because you've had such an explosive start to this year. I guess thinking about building and seeing more what we might see in these coming weeks here, just tell us a little bit about some of the team goals and personal goals here as we continue on.
Well, our team goal always to go in every week and win no matter what it is. So our main team goal is to go undefeated this year. And every week we're working to get better defense. The first game, score 41 points on us, and our coaches hung that up on the wall everywhere to make them remember it, so that every week, score less and less points.
Been working. It was a shootout victory there. I think 68-41 was the final on that one.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. Yeah, there's some points up there.
That's not much defense.
Yeah.
That's not much defense.
Yeah. But, hey, that was week one, right? We're let some
But
things slide.
hey, the bright side of that is on reality, Kaedyn, is this. From two guys that have been doing this for a while, we're glad just to have somebody that is making that top performance list from BGA. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a minute since BGA has made
Especially
the noise.
consistently there,
That's
yeah.
exactly right. That's made the noise to say, hey, they're doing something special over there. So, you know what? To you and your teammates, you guys are doing, and you're doing it really, really well.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add about this start and what we're going to see, especially come this Friday? Because, like you said, Division 2A, AA, middle region contest coming up Friday night. Man, I think that's a big one. That's where we get started.
Right. Of course, first region game, we're coming out there with a little bit extra grit. Still looking to score a lot of points, hold them to a little. Yeah.
I think we got to go check a BGA game out, Garth.
Yeah, you might need to send Erin over there to do a little little work. What is this here I'm hearing over here next to us? Okay. All right.
Well, Kaedyn, congratulations on being our latest Gateway Tire Athlete of the Week. Congratulations, I think, for being within our Tim Thompson Premier Performers list week in to week out here so far, too. Keep it up. It's been a fantastic start. Best of luck on Friday, young man.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Oh, love it. Kaedyn Marable of Battleground Academy. Appreciate you having here. Let's be sure to get a quick photo here real quick. Our latest Gateway Tire Male Athlete of the Week. Thank you. Again, the WillCo Sports Power Hour. We're happy to have Kaedyn. We're happy to have Erin. We had Darrin joins with us there a little earlier, too. And congratulations again, young man. We'll see you up here again, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. soft-spoken, but he's definitely getting it done out on the field. So he's making the noise on the field. And good-looking athlete, tall, lanky.
882 yards passing through 3 games.
Through 3 games.
Yeah, that's 290-ish a game for sure, but 51 of 67. That completion rate is something. He mentioned this line for BGA. They're getting stuff done. They're giving this young man some time, but I think he's reading it pretty well too.
Yeah, and from here and from these guys next to me, they want Erin to show them some love, coming out there to seeing them and taking some pictures for them, and so hey, we've accomplished.
Well, I'll be there at some point too. Yeah.
Well, I think they want Erin to come instead of you, to be honest with you, but
I understand. Oh man,
it's all good.
Yeah,
been a great show though tonight. We didn't have an opportunity to have a couple of our people to be here, but you know what? They're playing and getting it done.
One thing with Monday Night Football too, want to mention a couple of the great guys that have graduated through Williamson County schools. We got Tyrell Dotson of the Seattle Seahawks, starting linebacker. Fantastic start for that young man. He had 10 tackles, 11 tackles, 9 solo, but the heart of that defense for the Seahawks as they pick up a big win. So neat
good
to see
for
Tyrell.
him for getting that contract.
Yes,
Fine
well done
young
there.
man.
Got a Dawson Knox, former Brentwood Academy guy there for Buffalo. Buffalo picks up a win. You got to think Van Jefferson over at Pittsburgh, seeing him getting more and more snaps out there. We got a few nice local talent here. It's always fun following Monday Night Football, of course, here at Tony's Eat and Drink, the place to be. So super excited to see how things come out tonight too, eh, Garth?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've got to base a pick on to see watch how these Jets play tonight. So we'll see.
Well, for our great guests here, we had, again, Darrin joins at Williamson County Schools. With us tonight, we had Erin Powers as well through Williamson County Schools outside the lines, and Mr. Kaedyn Marable of Battleground Academy, the junior quarterback here for the Wildcats, who are off to a great 3-0 start. It was a nice one. We'll be back Monday. We're going to have an extra guest, too.
Yeah, great to hear about BGA. Great to hear about the Outside the Lines program, and, that's just a program that's building each year, and so Erin, very talented young lady. She's going to do well at her next level and at the collegiate level, and so, but you'll see her around for the rest of the school year, Charles.
Yeah. I love what Darrin said, too, about how whatever she does, wherever she finds herself in that next level, she's going to make that much better, because she just brings that confidence, brings that drive. So, wherever she ends up, if you're fortunate enough to get her, it's going to be a lot of fun.
I believe that as well. So we've enjoyed everybody being with us tonight, and Monday Night Football is right around the corner, so we'll get off the air here and have a good meal tonight, watch a little bit of football ourselves.
Quick shout out again to all our great sponsors. Again, Monday nights, we're live here at Tony's Eat and Drink, 6 o'clock. Come hang out, watch on the Facebook, whether you're the Williamson Herald Facebook page or Gateway Tire. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Tim Thompson, Premier Realtors, Gateway Tire and Service, Toyota of Cool Springs, Stonegate Homes, Matthews Team Sports, Trucking Fork here, Tennessee, Southern Trophy, and John Mayer Builders. Garth, it's been a lot of fun, but let's grab some food, huh?
Let's do it. Everybody have a great week.
Thank you.
Tim Thompson, Premier Realtors, a local realty company that has been in operation for more than 40 years. Tim has the personal motto of no excuses, just results, and that's the approach and superior service you'll receive at Tim Thompson, Premier Realtors. Allow Tim and his team the privilege of assisting you in accomplishing your real estate dreams.